All right, I'm back, but I don't see myself, so that's always concerning.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't see you.
Yeah, but you don't see me, yeah.
Oh no, he's been Thanos snapped. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
I am inevitable.
You're listening to the Media Man Dan podcast, promoting people with passion all over the globe. Interviews every weekend, album reactions every month. This is your host, Media Man Dan. Let's rock! What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Media Man Dan podcast. It is so great to have you back with me for another amazing interview. And by with me, I say Crimson Red, welcome back to the show. It's been too long, my friend. We haven't talked for about a year, and you've already dropped the biggest banger of the year in rap music, which is R4L. Check out the brand new album from Crimson Red, everyone. Go to the description right down below and watch the reaction. I promise it is nothing but so fun that you will just tell everyone about it. And if you don't tell everyone about it, you're a fake fan and fuck you. Either way, let's jump right into this chat. It's so great to have you back, Crimson. How's life? How's everything going, man?
What's good? Yeah, life is busy ever since the album dropped and stuff like that. Looking to move, doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, life right now, I'm just constantly doing something. There's never a stop. There's never a break right now.
No pausing.
Yeah, no pause.
All right, well, it's good to hear that you are constantly going because this album is also constantly going. If you guys haven't heard it already, R4L is out now, and it is a massive pack of music. Like, you got EPs from this man, you've got his little nice little album that he had before with Loverboy, but now this is the full extreme of LP, and I love it because it has interludes, it has so much depth to it, there's so many different styles of hip-hop on here, there's so much modern that is like so much better to hear in this day that people will actually latch onto as opposed to my usual Eminem lyrical rap flow. But you also infuse that as well in some tracks, especially on the beats, and I was just in love with everything that I was hearing, and I really enjoyed the reaction that I was able to make, and I'm glad that you were able to finally see it in perfect HD.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it too.
It looks so much better than how we did it on Skype, right? Or it's whatever this is, Google Meets.
It's funny because nobody will know what the behind the scenes of that was, but it was just funny. It was funny as hell to have the whole thing go through and then just be like, so yeah, I'll hear your comments when you drop it.
Yeah, because what happened is that I was making the reaction and he was somehow able to hear the music play before I was able to hear it play. So he's rapping along to basically the next verse and I'm still on the chorus. And I'm like, wait a second, what time zone? Like, this man is from the future. He is from the future.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard that part of the song.
Yeah, I was always like one song ahead. Like you'd be listening to like it'd be playing Feel, and then you're like, all right, cool, we're gonna be listening to Life to Live, and I'm like, God damn it, I'm like, holy shit, I am from the future right now.
You're already on Life to Live. Yeah. By the way, Life to Live, great track. I should talk about each track. We will definitely go more in depth about that. But I just want to say, for one, this album is a perfect score, a 10 out of 10, especially for
Thank
you
you.
as an artist. I am very happy with your evolution so far. And I hope that other people appreciate what you've put together because this project is something you've been real happy and passionate about for a while. And I could just feel it all over this entire album. And speaking of feeling, Feel is the hardest song for me to re-listen to. As much as I love the album, that one just has the strangest tempo. So I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. This is like yeah, it's like that one track where I don't want to bring up the canceled celebrity or anything, but Kanye and Big Sean, they're in the middle of that black and white garage, and they're like doing the whipping and the lashing and the grinding of teeth or whatever the hell, and they're like just in the middle of that garage, and I'll never forget that song. I don't even know what it's called, but I'll never forget watching it with conspiracy mindset and being like, everything's Illuminati. It's all a conspiracy. Like it's just that that's how YouTube used to be. I miss old YouTube. I should say that. You could like break down things that aren't even there. Like I had a guy who went on for 20 minutes about that one song My Homie Still by Lil Wayne, and he was talking about like the significance of an elephant and two pillars. Like he's like, as you could see in the Mayan text with the Bible, we also noticed that one, like, just like, bro, you gotta have a life or friends or like somebody out there that says.
It's like I think you're thinking further than even Lil Wayne was thinking.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he just got high and was like, elephant, pillar, White House looking thing, yellow, yeah, mannequins, like.
Not practical.
What does it mean? I don't know. Just drop the garage on them a couple of times. It's so it's insane. It's truly insane. But I'm really happy that your album doesn't have that type. It actually has a lot of good thematic elements, deep elements, and there's a lot of storytelling going on, especially in the interlude. I love the interlude because most interludes and skits and things like that on rap albums, it's just words spoken or it's like a sketch of some sort.
Yeah.
But yours is actually rapping on those parts. Like that's what I love. The intro has rap to it. The interlude has rap to it. The last track is the only one where you don't do that. And it needs to be that way because the last track is so like defining what the album is and where it's moving towards next. So it's like, yes, this is it. This is the best.
Yeah. For the last song, I definitely wanted to leave it on like a cliffhanger. Not only for two main reasons. One, because it'll help, it'll continue on to the next album, of course. But I actually have a music video for the last song. I don't know when I'm going to be dropping it, but I do have a music video for it. And I showed it to my girl. I showed it to my mom. And they even said, too, that when they watched the music video then, it just made it so much more impactful. And it also made it more, it just made it make more sense. So that was even my biggest thing, too, when I made, like, the last track. I was like, this is more of, like, a visual experience of, like, whatever your, basically, like, your ending would be or, like, your new beginning and stuff like that. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I think if anything, the last song needs a music video just to kind of show where like this ends and like, how everything is going and whatnot. And personally, all I gotta say, it's visually, it's beautiful. And then it just kind of fits really well with the song and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say like the ending is basically just for people to, think about their happy place while the piano is playing and stuff like that. And then where it's like you can relax your mind now. It's like that's just your deep calm in the mind, and you're in your happy place basically.
Yeah, you find serenity, you find your own utopia internally, and there's a lot of this album that is full of that question of like, what am I doing? Am I really the biggest thing? Like that's what I love about Big Deal is like it's got this ego trip to it, and then the next track, it's like the realization. It's like, was that song made for me? Was this all that I was writing about? The Code Red, all of this was my own like Red Alert as is like
Red
supposed
Alert,
to be my understanding, and was it my wake-up call? And it's like I love that concept of like questioning yourself and then finding more peace as the album moves forward. You got Fantasy and other songs that are in that dream state, which I'll talk about. Like everything about this album just has a like really interesting theme to it. And I was literally going to wear my Eminem hat, my Marshall Mathers LP hat, and my Search NF shirt, because that's how much I love listening to this album for the second time too, because it was like that moment where you're realizing this is the best of what you're going to get from this person. Like that's the thing. It's like NF's The Search is still one of my favorite modern hip hop albums. Like I can't go through one song on that album and be like, no, this is trash. Like it doesn't have that experience at all. And it does the same kind of thing that you do, where it's like deep questions, deep thoughts, but at the same time, like ego trip or incredibly sick beat or just like really deep and emotional lyrics. And it's just like, I loved having that feeling again, like I did from The Search. So I was like, but I gotta rep his hat, so I gotta find something that matches the hat. And I'm like, I'll wear the red shirt. You know, it
The
just makes
Reds,
sense.
yeah,
It's crimson,
the
red,
boys.
red. Yeah, it's all good. All the same animal, you know. But yeah, I'd like to go deep into the album now. We're gonna go track by track, and if you can just give me more details on it, I'm gonna give you a simple
course.
summary for each song. The first track that we have is called a cane, and that's in parentheses the end. The first thing that I thought was 3 question marks. Yep, it was one of the most like blasting into your eardrums chipmunk voice thing, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to think. Usually, you can be like, okay, there's the beat, and I'm gonna jump on the beat, and there's nothing. It's just you're just like, what is going on right now? But then you have this sick flow, and it's like the introduction, obviously, to the album. So what is a cane supposed to be about? I love that it also is the end, and then the last track is the beginning. Some creative thoughts there.
Yeah, so basically the main reason, even when I first heard the beat too, I was like, this has to be the first song because when the album drops, it's gonna be at midnight. A lot of people might be tired. A lot of people too. I think that was one of the biggest things. Like a lot of people when they hear an album, they'll just kind of hear sounds like sonically. They'll just be like, oh yeah, we're here, we're here. But if I give them a jump scare as the first thing, they're like, oh shit, I gotta pay attention, bro. Like what the hell? Why you know? So but yeah, overall, it basically was just kind of like my thought process. Because I think one cool thing about the whole album in general is like the first half is like my childhood and everything that happened, and the second half is basically, me now and kind of getting better and stuff like that. But at the same time, in the aspect of when I made my music, the end and pick it up were actually the first songs that I ever made, like for this album. So, at the time was actually around the time when I was in my breakup and stuff like that, like my first breakup. And which means like this song kind of was made before I even released Loverboy. So in my mind, I was just kind of like, should I be working on myself? Should I be working on my music? Should I be working on this? And I was questioning myself of what should I really be doing with my life and all that kind of stuff. And a cane is basically just like my inner self of being like, instead of like blaming myself for things, it's like, oh, okay, it's a cane. It's like if I'm, egotistic, it's a cane. If I'm being, you know, an asshole, it's a cane. If, anything like that,
Alter
it's a
ego.
cane. Right.
Okay.
So it's like for me, it was one of those things where it's just like, you know what? I am gonna work on, myself and musically and stuff like that, but just not in the right way, at least in like the beginning and stuff like that.
And what does where'd the name a cane come from?
Basically it just means deep red. And I don't I don't know exactly like where I figured out that it meant that. I think actually I tried to like look up Crimson Red in Japanese because I love anime. I love Japanese as a culture and stuff like that. And the first one that popped up was a cane, and it means deep red. And I'm just like, holy shit, like a evil red, like a darker red. And I was like, that makes sense. So then when I did it for crazy, I didn't think it was going to be anything, like special or whatever. I was like, oh, I'll just use crazy and, whatever. But I used it for crazy, used it for lost heart. And then for here, I was just like, you know what? Growing up with, that's another thing too, like growing up with anger issues and stuff like that, it made sense where it's like a cane is basically like that angry or more aggressive side. So I was like, nah, a cane is a part of me, especially in my younger years. So it's like
Yeah.
and if this album is basically me being like, hey, this is me as a youth, this is me in the beginning and all that kind of stuff, it just made sense to make a cane the not the center point, but basically like the thing that leads the story in. Because at first the album was going to be called A Cane, but then I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, not. But at first I was like, you know what? No, R4L, Red for Life. That makes more sense because that's the whole general overall of my life. Where it's like, hey, we had our ups, we had our downs, but at the end of the day, I'll always be Red for Life. I'll always be Crimson Red, no matter what stage of life I'm in.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And a cane is obviously therapeutic. You need to release it. And when it
Yep.
comes to anger issues, I also had many problems based on my past relationship, and it changed my whole perspective and my whole morality. Like just a lot of things, like you said, when you're an asshole, you're not you. And
Right.
like there's only one person, obviously the person you're with and the person I'm with right now, that can see through that. They've seen that darkness and they see the best of us. And so that's
Hmm.
how we are able to express, the good side, the regular Crimson Red and the normal Dan for me. But
Right.
in my opinion, it's like there's always something that's traumatized you that sticks with you for a long time. And
Oh
whether that
yeah.
comes with anger, addiction, whatever it is, you have to release it. And if you don't release it, then it just gets more and more built up into a monster. And so I'm happy that you're able to put that monster into this music because it's sick.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. I should say the next track is one of the best fucking songs in the entire album. That's called Pick It Up. Everyone, you guys need to pick it up right now. Go pick it up. It is such a good song and it is so fun. Yeah, exactly. Just go pick up the album right now. Go pick it up. It's like you're feeling everything, like workout mode. Definitely, it's beast mode music. That's what it is, and
Yeah.
it's so fun, and it's so catchy. And the chorus is awesome, but the verses are just slapping across the face. It is the Tech Nine, the Hobson, the Eminem type of flow. But it's also in the modern age, so it's that, I guess, Uzi, like you said earlier or later on the
Hmm.
album, and a couple other people like that. I was talking about Babytron originally. Like you just have
Yep.
this like different flow that really works for it and it really introduces you to what this album is going to have besides that first track, which is the jump scare. So it was just like a great 1-2 punch. And knowing those two were built at the same time or created at the same time is just awesome because it makes sense. You're telling your story and you started out with the actual beginning, which is before Loverboy and just the trauma that you had already faced. So putting that
Yeah.
down into writing is fantastic. By the way, I should say, anyone that's watching the video form of this, my rap book is right next to me. I never show this on camera, but this is everything I've ever written in my life. I have it next to me
Okay.
because Crimson Red inspires me to think about being a rapper again. Like it's awesome, man. I really like what you did, and it really made me feel like I could pick up some shit and like actually write some stuff down if I wanted to, and then release
Oh
something
yeah.
down the line. Because you're
Yeah.
an
No.
inspiration, and I love what you did. You went as deep as you could. You went as vulnerable as you could. So tell me, what do you think of Pick It Up? What is your message on that song that you're trying to send to your audience?
So basically for that, I know on face value, especially with a cane being the mask and all that kind of stuff, like, and coming off of a cane, the end, it's basically like, you know, pick up the mask, like pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. But that was kind of the afterthought before the album because, like I said, I made a cane the end and I made pick it up at the same time. Which, fun fact, me and Edison were on a Discord call and we were just going through beats and whatnot. And I found that one. And literally I'm listening to it and I'm just vibing to it. And he's doing his thing and I just go, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. These motherfuckers be asking I did enough. And then like I just went off with it. Um, but at the time when I wrote it, it was more about um the addiction that I had with like cough syrup, NyQuil and stuff like that where anytime anything happened, like depression, anything like that, it was, pick it up, fill it up, pick it up. Cause I know like definitely with the hook, even like when I was trying to write the lyrics, I'm like, what am I exactly saying? But it's like, yeah, it's like got too much, I pick it up, got too much, I fill it up. So it's like the primary thing for that was at that time it's like anytime I had issues or anytime that I had whatever, that's what I went to. That's what I picked up. That's what I went for. It just kind of worked out for the album though, in the sense of like a cane being a mask, because it was like, oh, okay, I'm going through it. Let's pick it up,
And that
and
mask
that,
is what we see on the cover, right?
yep.
Gotcha. The cover artwork, by the way, guys, is savage. Last time we chatted, he was there for my reaction, and he actually had the faceplate with him. And do you still have that with you?
It's boxed up. I think I boxed it up because I think I
Okay,
left it
cool.
out for the reaction, and then I was like, right afterwards, I started packing more. So I was just kind of like,
Well,
I'm like, okay.
I'll try to find it. I'll try to find a clip where it's a solid picture and so you guys can see it. It's one of the sickest things. It's on the cover of the album too, which you guys would once again need to go and check out so you can understand everything we're saying right now. But if you have already checked it out and you're excited to hear more of the story, don't worry. We've got plenty more tracks to go through. So pick it up. Pick it up is the last one that you did before Loverboy. So that was pre all of the good stuff that was in your life, right? This is all like coming from the rage period, coming from your Arcane. And so now we have the next track, which is Life to Live. One of the best songs. This is what I call the pigeon neck song, because there is you walk ahead, walking around, bobbing your head like a something pigeon. I think that's what Hobson said in like Ill Mind, one of those songs. You're like, yeah, you're bobbing your head like a pigeon. Like it's one of those pigeon songs, and the beat is just so fucking sick. How'd you end up making Life to Live, man?
Basically, I heard it, and this was actually around the time. It's funny because this isn't for every single song how it works, but basically, Life to Live and Feel, same thing. They were made around the same time.
Oh,
Um,
1-2
and I
punches as well. So two
yeah,
and,
and I
and
think
four.
and I think that's like the last time though that happens on the whole album. But
Okay.
basically, yeah, not like I was just thinking basically about everything in my life where it was just, I was like really thinking where I was like, you know what? Yeah, I was like, I am gonna be a musician. I am gonna, be a father in the future. I am gonna do this. I am gonna do this. I literally have a life to live. And I basically brought up too, that there's a lot of people in my life that are gonna come and go. And sometimes they're gonna support me, sometimes they're gonna, hate on me and stuff like that, especially after um especially after the last show I just did. It's crazy how many people switched up because, I got like a certain spot or I did a certain thing, and, jealousy took over. So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, you have your life, I have my life to live. I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure that I get and do what I want to do, and, go from there.
Yeah, man. And it's extremely important that as anyone in any position, whether it's, starting up as an artist or, halfway through your prime, you need to have a revelation. You have to have that, self-awareness that says no matter what phase I was in before, I got to keep moving forward. And the
Yep.
only way you can keep moving forward is if you have that mindset of I got something to bring to the table. I got to make sure that I'm a good father. I got to make sure that I'm a good husband. I got to make sure that I'm a good person. And it's like, get all that shit out of the way. Here's who I really am. That's what I love about the vulnerability on this album is like Crimson speaking from the heart. And he does that all the time. But this time I felt it so much more than Loverboy and so much more than the old stuff. I was just like real happy with this, man, because I know you've been promoting it for a while. And the last thing I wanted to do was be a critical dick and be like, well,
Hey, no.
Loverboy 2.0, it's fine. But no, this one is not. It is a different thing. It's a story, and I love a full LP album. Like that's what I'm all about. So let's go on to the track that I don't like. And that's Feel. And it's only because of the chorus. Like that is the only thing I got. I got the tempo down when I was reacting. I was like, okay. And then there was one part where you actually picked up the tempo with your verse, and then it went back to that chorus like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, nah, bro, no, that killed it. I was like, come on, pick it up, pick it up.
For me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you made this so that we can actually vibe, and now you're making the vibe die. No, okay. So what made Feel so different from the other tracks on this album?
Yeah, basically Feel was just me trying something different. So this is the first song on the album that I produced, like the beat.
Okay.
Um And yeah, I was just trying to go for like a more like gritty type of feeling because like basically all the other songs, it was kind of like a more aggressive way of getting my point across. This was like the first time where it was like, if you ever got like in trouble or scolded and you're just kind of like, oh man, I hate you, bro. You know, it was kind of like one of those things. So instead of like yelling at somebody, you were kind of talking under your breath. So it's just like, the biggest thing about the whole entire song though is that it is shots to a lot of people around me and whatnot. And I think that was one of the biggest things. Like you said, it's very like open, it's very like, honest, like the whole album for me. And I think that's one of the biggest things that like when I put everything together, I started to realize that too. I'm like, wow, I just didn't give a shit. It was like one of those things where it was like I said how I felt on the songs and there was no remorse. It was like I'm not gonna apologize for how it makes other people feel.
Yeah.
And my girl said that, even my mom said that when I was just like, there's a lot of songs on here that I don't think a lot of people are gonna like. And they were like, that's on them. So yeah,
Yeah.
feel was just something like you know, I wanted to try something different. I did whatever. And even like my best friend, for example, I want to say he said that it sounded something like Andre 3K or Wu-Tang Clan. There was like a specific
Okay.
song, but I think if he didn't I didn't get to talk to him yet about what his favorite song is on the album, but I feel like for him, because he's such a 90s head, either this song or Mental will probably be his favorite, but yeah, so feel just basically, as the title says, it's just how I feel.
Yeah, man. The good thing about it, like you were talking about before, the honesty that you're coming with, the vulnerability that you're coming with, and the no holds barred argument is kind of the most important thing in art. Art is supposed to be expressive. You're never supposed to hold back and be like, oh man, I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings by saying this. That's why I fucking hate people that take their own music and take things out of it because they don't mean what they said at one time. It's like, listen, you don't have to say that. It's obvious that maybe you've lived a different life now than what you originally started with. But then taking out a word because you no longer agree with it and making it very obvious, like, I don't want to call anyone out, but also I do. Kelsey Ballerini is one of my favorite country artists. And she re-released her first album. And there's a spot where she says R. Kelly on the radio, and it just goes mute. And I'm like, hey, like, can you at least like use a different person's name, like somebody in the same syllable range? Like, why would you just cut that? Like, it just takes the vibe out of the song.
Or do what Kesha did, where it's like, wake up in the morning and I'm like, fuck P Diddy or something like that,
Yeah.
It's like
fuck Diddy.
especially if you're re-releasing it, you have the chance to change lyrics.
You are the artist. You have control over it. I find it strange that anyone would take a lyric that they don't know, originally, or now I guess the nuances that they don't agree with it, but they originally obviously said it because that was somebody they grew up with. We all grew up with R. Kelly. It's not because he was a molester. It's not because he was a piece of garbage. It's because he was, I Believe I Could Fly, the Space Jam soundtrack, all the good songs that were on the radio. Like, that's what we remember. Cancel culture wasn't a thing yet. And so taking something that's already been made with the original lyric, with that artist's name, and then just cutting it out, it's like, wow, that shows nothing to me. Like, it shows that you're afraid. Why would you be afraid of, like, it's been around forever. People can go and find the original version. They're going to hear that, and they would probably hear it so that it doesn't sound mute at that point. Like, I hate silence. So your album doesn't have any of that. Crimson here is not a country artist. You're not going to believe that he's a rap artist. I know it sounds crazy, right? He looks exactly like one of those. Yeah, I know. What? What? Dan, you're telling me I have to be a hip hop artist? Are you telling me you built a time machine? No. All right. So it was something that I really enjoyed listening to this on the second time, especially because I was just like, he literally is going in and saying everything on his mind. And even if it's not, the most cursing that all the other rappers do, it uses those curse words in the right way. It infuses the, aggression with the empathy. Like, it understands it as self-awareness, but at the same time, it's coming from a place before you were self-aware. And it's just like that perfect mixture. What you're giving us is poetry in motion. And that's what hip hop is supposed to be about. So once again, really appreciate all of this album so far. We've been talking about all these tracks, but now we got a great song, and this song is fun as hell, and that is Push Up. Push Up, obviously the most crazy that I went on the reaction, and for good reason. The beat is fire, and I do want to work out to it. Like, oh my gosh, you could do push-ups to that song, just so you guys know. Punny.
Yeah, no, funny enough, it's actually the song, like, I try and do like 20 push-ups, 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 20 squat, like all that kind of stuff every day when I wake up and whatnot. And this is what I have on there. Yeah, and this is that's what I put on when I do my push-ups, and I sync it to it. I'm like, push up, like
you gotta do a workout video for the music video.
That's all it is. It's just the whole song is just a workout video. It's like me at
you
the
can
gym.
Get the little get the little microphone that you would have like a boy band mic, or like the
oh my god, it's like a gym class session.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, everyone, I need 20 push-ups. Push up.
Yeah, and then the music just starts up, and now you just start seeing everyone in the exact motion. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm telling you things because I'm a marketer here.
I'm writing that down.
Marketing man Dan, all right.
Marketing.
He agreed. Everything's man Dan these days, bro. I got so much coming. But this song is fire. That's all I can say. I put 5 fire emojis when I was listening to it the second time, and I was just like, yeah, this is such a fun song. If you don't feel for the other songs, if you're like, oh man, I don't want to think when I'm listening to hip hop, this is the song for you. You can just have a great time listening. Yeah, just do some push-ups, keep listening, run around the block, bike wherever you're going, drive very quickly, but within the speed limit.
Give you that motivation.
It does motivate the shit out of you. Yeah. Don't risk anything. It's not worth it. But rap music should make you feel absolutely unstoppable, and that's what this song gives you, is that vibe of unstoppable. So the next song we got,
that was my biggest thing.
Sorry,
was
next song.
My biggest thing, because when I performed push up at my last show, for example, that was another thing that I always thought about too, where I was like, I have like Red Alert and Crazy, but I don't really have any other songs that like get people going, or like even like mosh type songs. So that was another like challenge for me, where I was like, how can I, express how I'm feeling and stuff like that, but in like a more aggressive way. And especially in the beginning when I made a cane and pick it up, I was like, okay, I can do this. So then that's when I decided, I was like, first half is going to be a lot more aggressive, and then the second half will be, like what people, can see from like Loverboy, but more of like a more defined and more like, experimental side.
Yes, I definitely do feel that vibe when you get closer to the end of this album. But we're still in the middle right now. We got some more stuff to say. So Push Up, here's what I related it to. The documentary by The Game.
Okay.
So that album, straight fire, absolutely amazing. Shady Records, Aftermath, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, all working together to make The Game the next big thing. He was before Kendrick, and that was like the vibe that I got from that song specifically. And I called it Shady 3.0, because there's Shady 2.0 and then they got Shady 3.0. And so you got some Eminem kind of flow on there. You got a lot of like these funny lines. Not as much as the other song I'm going to go later into, but the Blastoise, that's just fucking awesome. Like so funny, so funny. So we go into the next track, and that is the most egotistical song you've ever made, called Big Deal. An ego trip and a modern flow is what I said. And it is absolutely fitting to say that, because it's exactly how you should feel from Big Deal.
Yep.
So Big Deal is probably your confidence boost, right?
Oh, for sure. Oh my god, for sure. Yeah, because I was just like, besides like fighter needing more of like that, like, oh, keep going kind of thing. A lot of times, surprisingly, it's one of those things where it's like I forget that I'm Crimson Red. I forget that I do music. I forget, all this kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where, that song, or even when people would tell me, they're like, no, you're a pretty big deal, and stuff like that, or, don't sell yourself out and stuff like that. Um, it was one of those songs where it was just kind of like it made sense in the aspect of sometimes I need to remind myself who I am, get that like God complex, like big ego type of thing. But it just works for the album too, because like we're building up to like this, you know, complete asshole. So it's like, with a cane being in control and stuff like that. So it was one of those things where it's like, what, yeah, big deal. We're gonna, it just makes sense.
Yeah. And every single thing about this is like, you can't tell me that I'm not the best. Like
Hmm.
it's the mentality every rapper should come in with. And like people that have that ego, they can put it to the side and be humble about things, be humble. Sit down, little
Sit
bitch.
down.
But like that's how it goes. It's something you have to have. If you don't have that type of ego, you'll never have the confidence to be able to write or perform the way that like rappers should. Like it's the only
Yeah.
way to actually make it in the rap game. Most people know that if you're in a rap battle, you can't come in being like insecure.
Right.
Be like, oh, my feelings are gonna get hurt if they say something about my mom. Like it's
Yeah.
like, no, man, you're a little bitch, and this is why I'm gonna kick your ass. And it's like, that's
Hmm.
how it needs to be. It's a fight. And this one is obviously fighting yourself, fighting your own, insecurities, fighting your own struggles that you were dealing with, and using this ego boost to actually help it out and make it into, like I said before, a therapeutic situation. And I really, really love this song. After I've now heard it 2 or 3 times, it helps it a lot more than the first time I heard it. I was like, what is he talking about? Dude, what Crimson, bro? Come on, you're small, man. You got time to grow still. Don't do
Yeah.
this. Don't throw your career down the drain this quickly. Be like, Drake suck my dick, Eminem's the worst. Like, like everybody does that kind of thing where they're like, I'm the next big thing and no one can stop me. But I also understand the mentality of it. And like you
Hmm.
have to be your own biggest fan. And so that ego boost is a super helpful thing. And yeah, this song, if you guys like to get that good vibe, it's definitely the pump up, but also very not workout type of song. You can work out to it. It's just less of a workout
Hmm.
song than push up and pump and put it up. Pick it up.
Yeah,
Pick it up and
I
put
would
it up.
say I would say like one of the biggest things is like there's nothing wrong with like hyping yourself up. I think it comes down to like bringing other people down though. Cause like
Mhm.
a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm the best. And like you said, like Drake sucked my dick and Eminem's the worst type of thing, right? But it's
Yeah.
like for me, it's like I'm the best me that I'm ever gonna be. So it's like if for me it's like, hey, I'm a big deal. It's like people will be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a big deal. Versus if like I change the lyrics to I'm the biggest rapper out now, it's like, okay. It's like, but for what I'm doing and for me as Crimson Red, like, yeah, it's like I am a big deal, a lot, and my music backs it up. I think that's the most important thing too, because like there's so many people out there that'll be like, "Oh, I'm the best rapper alive" and stuff like that, and you're just like, you got some room to grow. But like for me, I put out R4L. It is very braggadocious and it is very like out there where it's like, hey, this is good music. I'm a big deal, and I put it out there. Like it's basically one of those things where it's like, you're talking that talk and you're showing up with it as well.
Absolutely. You're talking the talk, you're walking the walk, you're proving
Hmm.
your worth in the rap game, and you're proving it to yourself, which matters most. The internal
Yep.
struggles. Most men are like, I'm a big man, I don't have to talk about my feelings. But in rap music, you can actually do that, but also sound like a big man. Like it's
Yep.
crazy. It uses both the sensitive side as well as the aggressive side. And that's what I really, really enjoyed about that first part of this album. We're going into the next part, which is a little different. We got humming. which is one of the most NF style songs I've heard when it comes to the beat. And it's just very dark, sinister, and just creepy, haunting kind of stuff. But it has some really good melodic rap flow. Like, that is not my type of thing, but you have some really good flow on this, and the singing is perfect. And I know that you are able to sing like that, so I know it's organic voice, and it's awesome. I really, really like that track.
Yeah, Humming was actually just one of those songs where um I was just kind of thinking where it's like, what can I make like the darkest like lyrics and shit? And that's where, it's like the whole hook, even where it's just like you could die any moment, drop dead like your homie and stuff like that. I remember the first time that I played that for some people, it was just like, damn, it's a little crazy to say, but it's like we're at the last part of, you know, when it comes to the first half of the album, with the Kane being like, this dark energy, this dark force and stuff like that. So it was like, nah, I need to put that across that, like, I'm at the there's no turning back redemption arc, kind of like, a Kane has me in a chokehold kind of thing. So it's like, talking about, everything that I was on that song, for example. And then even towards the end, or yeah, towards the end of the song, when I like changed my voice and stuff like that and kind of had my own like rasp Kane voice, it was like I was trying to get that across where it's like, oh, like he's turned into him now. Like this is a turning point.
He's fully consumed you.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's something that you do break away from on a couple of songs later down the line. That song specifically, I couldn't say much. I was just so impressed because I don't like modern hip hop, and everything that you were doing with it. Like I said, I mean, NF's The Search is one of the most impressive albums in my opinion, just because of the vulnerability as well as the style of it. Everything he had already done on his first three albums, you could feel that this fourth album was his thing, and like you're on that exact same stage with your own career right now. So it's like I feel like that was the vibe I was getting, and that song specifically, I was like, this is his search. I'm loving this. I'm really happy with this, and Humming just amplifies that, and then the way that you sing on it more than you rap on it. And I was still vibing. I was like, yeah, no, this is a solid track. This is a definite solid track. There's so many lyrics that I could talk about, but I actually don't memorize them unless I listen to a song 5 times, just so you guys know. ADHD, it's a pain in the ass. I gotta like write down everything. I'll be like, read through it.
I think that's a huge compliment though, because yeah, I love NF The Search. I love NF as that's basically, I feel like that's how it was for everybody. I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but that's how I found out who NF was. But yeah, I think that's a huge compliment at the end of the day. That's thank you.
Of course, man. And you deserve huge compliments because you are a pretty big deal, bro. All right. The next track we got is an interlude. This is actually where we get a little break in the album, but it's not a break in the rap. That's what I love about this album. There's no stopping. There's an interlude. It starts up and it starts going right into the hip hop, but it's getting more thematic and it's deeper than what you would expect from an interlude, because what it's doing is it's adding to what the context is as we move forward. And then the vibe completely changes. How'd you end up with this interlude? And was it a last minute thought, like I should put something in the middle that separates the album, or was it something that you already had in place?
It was kind of, I don't want to say it was like something that I knew was going to happen and wasn't last minute. I would say, all jokes aside, it was really a middle thought, because I was like, at first that, the album, like I said, was just going to be called a Kane. It was just going to be aggressive songs and stuff like that. Then that's when I was like, okay, well, maybe it should be, like half and half. And I was thinking about how am I going to display that and whatnot. And one thing that I went back to, I don't really go back to Lost Heart a lot. It was it was definitely, you could tell it's one of my first albums and stuff like that. And you got Wonder on there and whatnot, but the whole idea of it was that even in the first song, it was like, oh, I'm in the abyss and it's because I'm heartbroken and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I can use the abyss as, I'm at the lowest of my low. It's the darkest place you can be at. It's the lowest of the low, and trying to climb back up. And then that's where you get like the more rising inspirational songs and whatnot.
I love that. That's a great theme, especially since you explained the abyss in a different way than I was originally thinking. I was thinking of the abyss was like a graveyard or something of that sort because you know why? Fucking Mortal Kombat, man. That's
Great
what I was
fucking
like.
game.
Yeah, it's a great
Great
game,
series.
and then I think it was the ninth game or whatever it was in the series. And it was Xbox 360. I would play that all the time, and they had like challenge in the abyss or whatever it was, and I was always like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's where my mind goes. But the way that you spoke about it, like having that like cavernous like experience, like you're going deeper than deep and climbing your way out of it for the next couple of tracks, that makes so much more sense than what I was originally thinking. But the music gets better from here, guys. It keeps going, and we get into Too Late, which is what I consider dream sequence number one. All of these, as I said during the reaction, feel like you're floating through stars and shit. Like it is incredible. I related this one majorly to the master lyricist and modern hip hop artist Juice World. I was real happy with re-listening to this one, and I got that vibe the whole time. And R.I.P. to Juice, because his
R.I.P.
legacy, I can't believe it ended so quickly. He is so good.
Yeah, too late was surprisingly, it was actually a song that I kind of got stumped on for a little bit. I had the hook down for a while, and it was just kind of sitting in the hard drive. And like one of the biggest things, especially for like artists and whatnot, and I know a lot of artists that watch this, they can probably relate to it, but they'll either, write a hook and then come back to it, or, they'll do a couple verses, but then they'll come back to it and whatnot. And life just needs to happen. And when my girlfriend came into my life, that's when we kind of had like a conversation about religion. We kind of had a conversation about faith and all that kind of stuff. And that's primarily what the song is all about. And it was actually her idea to have the song completely clean as well. So there's no
Mhm.
swearing on the song at all. Um, but yeah, the song itself is basically just a, you know, is it too late to kind of come back to like, God and stuff like that? And especially where it's like, growing up in, Catholic school and how they taught and all that kind of stuff, it kind of pushed me away.
Mhm.
But my girl was basically the one to be like, hey, you don't have to primarily think about it exactly like how they did. You could still have your faith, you can still believe in how you believe and stuff like that. And I think it kind of helps in the song, not only because personally, yeah, it's like the song is just a journey for me with God. And that's when I came back to the song to write it and stuff like that, was because, that's what was happening. It was one of those things where it was like it was my journey with faith and stuff like that. But it also comes back to, the abyss, for example. It's at the lowest of the low, and I'm trying to seek that forgiveness, and trying to get back up and whatnot. So yeah, I'd say probably in the most like out of all the songs, it's probably the most like that even now I still kind of am battling, where it's like, trying to forgive everything that happened when I was younger, but still,
Mhm.
having my like belief journey, you could say, like right now.
Without quoting Eminem, it was your recovery.
Yeah.
That's what I was feeling the whole time as you were talking about it. I was like, yeah, this is definitely a song that is going to make more sense to me now as I
Hmm.
understand the context of it more. My also opinion, as your girlfriend said, I think it goes with the same idea as a politic kind of person. Like, love your country, hate your government.
Hmm.
Love God, hate religion. They don't have to run in
Yeah.
the same. Just
Correct.
because you're one specific direction, whatever that is, or because you've been raised in a certain way, doesn't mean that's the correct way. But what you can take from that is what matters most. I've always been,
Right.
a believer in God. And no matter what my religion has done or said, whatever it is, and even the things that I do agree with and absolutely loved having experiences, I always see it as it was just another stepping stone to get to what I believe is the correct way. And that's just following exactly God's path and trying to help others find it. Like that's the thing. And I'm not going to go religious with this, but I'll just say like the song is a good vibe and the music being censored, didn't even realize it because I'm too busy jamming. I'm rocking, I'm bobbing, I'm doing everything that I usually do when I'm listening to great music, and I'm not even thinking about the lyrics. I'm gonna have to go back at least 3 more times, like I said, about 5th time. Then I'll be like, oh, guess what, Crimson, I just figured out what your song means.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it goes. But I loved it, and yeah, the vibe is just always great at the end of this album. I was so critical towards Fantasy, and that's gonna be coming up very soon as well. But we will just say like this vibe that you have of this revelation, this recovery, this search for forgiveness and empathy within yourself and trying to escape the darkness. It makes so much sense. What you said is like it goes from the abyss, the darkest place, to get up to where it needs to be. And that's why all these next songs are a totally different vibe. And now we go into Fantasy, the one that I originally did not like at all, had nothing good to say about it, which is so funny because I'm always positive on my reactions. But I was just like, if you made it for your girlfriend, just leave it for your girlfriend. And now I understand it has so much more meaning to it. And so I resent everything I said, but I will not take away or delete anything because that is not how reality works.
Oh yeah. No, like sometimes like there I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I said it too. It's like there's a lot of songs out there that I listen to for the first time and I'm just kind of like, But I kind of, like I said, my 2 biggest inspirations I always talk about is like Lil Uzi Vert and J. Cole.
Mhm.
And I think Lil Uzi Vert's songs are like one of the biggest. It's either they hit right away or they take time to grow on. And even like you said, like Fantasy as like a single, it really wasn't something that, you enjoyed too much. But as like putting it into the album, kind of like fitting it like a puzzle piece, it was like, oh shit,
Exactly.
this makes sense now. And I think that was one thing too that I talked to my girl about yesterday that she was like, you should pat yourself on the back about is basically like the how everything kind of fits together, number one, but also two, just like how we were saying for Too Late, how it's like there's a lot of little intricate details that even I wasn't conscious about where she was like, hey, you should make it because it's such a religious type song, just have no swear words on it. And I was like, oh my god, that's another like good thing to think about. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's like so many, there's even things that like I got comments before where they're just like, it's like, oh, I saw that Crimson did this on this song, and even I didn't think about that, where I was like, "Oh, I didn't think somebody could take it like that." So I would say that's one of the biggest things that my girl said yesterday, that as the album is like, you got some bangers, you got some, good sounding songs, but a lot of people are gonna have to listen to it again to pick up on even the smallest details. Kind of like a movie, for example, where, you notice one thing your first watch, but then you notice something else your second watch, and you're like, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize, that happened," for example.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's extremely relatable for me as I'm a huge movie fan, and we'll go into that at the end of this wonderful chat. I do love this album, and that's why I want to consistently focus on it because it is your best work yet. And I'm just excited
And
to
I
see what
appreciate
comes
it.
next. And knowing the Fantasy is what we're still focused on right now, I can say like my perspective changed, my appreciation for this track is so much better. Just listening to the production of it specifically, like the beat of it is fucking
Mhm.
awesome. And I didn't even realize it until I heard it the 3rd, 4th time. And I was like, okay. I obviously was focusing more on the lyrics or just your voice. Because I'm a singer myself, so I'm always like, well, if you don't sing perfectly, then blah 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 blah. But it doesn't really matter in this case. You just put your heart and soul into it, and it wasn't just for the girlfriend, but it was a phase of this album that really needed to be there, that healing phase. And that's why I
Yep.
love that you put this in there. And that's why we go to the next track, which is called Break Free. In my opinion, the best of the dream sequences. I do love Too Late, but Break Free is probably my favorite. And it has the Weekend kind of flow for the chorus, like that guy that you had on there, that feature, awesome. And then your verses and your self-revelation, it's just beautiful. One of the best songs on the whole album.
48 Glow, when I heard he actually did vocals for that beat already, and I kind of picked it up, and I was just kind of like, I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense, where it's like, you know, breaking free from a pain, for example, because even
Breaking
like
free.
in the lyrics, breaking free, we're so
Sorry, you walked into it, bro. I couldn't stop when you said breaking free. I was like, uh-oh.
Nah, hey, if we need to take a moment to talk about how great High School Musical is, we can do that, you know?
We will go into that. It's actually
We
part
will
of the
do
movie
that.
conversation.
All
right.
But yeah, he even like talking about how, you know, he was just like, doesn't it make you happy that we're not together and stuff like that. It was kind of one of those things where, you know, a part of the story, like, yeah, Kane was just like, hey, we're in this together. This is you and me. And then as soon as I get to the abyss, it's like, all right, dropped you off, you know, and now it's like breaking free from all the trauma, breaking free from all the anger, everything that happened from the first half of the album. And I just like how 48's vocals were like chopped and how everything sounded. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And I wanted to bring up the Red Alert line for sure because, like, yeah, that was like, it was my first single that I ever put out. It was the most like, you know, this is me, this is Crimson Red, this is who I am. You know, I'm ready to stay and stuff like that. Uh, Before I knew all about the music scene, before I knew, you know, like people are gonna come and go and stuff like that. And that's why I said it was like a warning to me where it's like, you know, I'm so out here, I'm so ready to go, but am I really ready for everything that comes with it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that song is basically just like a yeah, it was a nice song. It almost didn't make the album, which I know a lot of people would be like, did that happen? I mean, they wouldn't know, but you know, saying it out loud now, they're like, really? Like, but yeah, I'm glad that it got on there. Like, I'm glad it was
I
on there.
am glad as well. And yeah, with the Red Alert, if you guys don't know the line, he talks about how that song he originally wrote for something he didn't realize he actually understands it more. He has a nuanced perspective and realizes that song was made for him. And NF has a song like that too, where he's just like realizing it's that self-realization, like, oh, well, this phase was actually supposed to help me. Like Eminem would look down on his relapse stuff for a while or his recovery stuff. And he would always like say something later down the line. And he's like, I'm so glad that I made recovery. Or he would be like regretting relapse. And he's so glad he made recovery because he talks about like the themes of that. Or even though people didn't like it, like it's my first album from Eminem was Recovery. I love it, but that's also because I have a bias and a personal favorite because, you know, they start out with that. But as I could hear as he got older and more wise and really looked at his own career, he would always look back and say, like, I made Recovery for me, and I wish that I never made those other albums because that wasn't who I am. And it's like you had that realization so much early on, and it's just like the Red Alert should go off in your mind all the time now. And it's just like if this is where I'm going to let my ego take me, I'm just going to go back to that abyss. I'm just going to put myself back into that darkness that I don't need to be a part of anymore. And like, that's a wonderful thing to see. Token right now dropped an amazing album as well this year and talked about his own like struggles with himself and like understanding where things went wrong in his life and questioning things. And he was just so vulnerable. And I loved his album too, because it was just like, you could tell you and Token everyone is at the peak of their careers, and they're able to put so much more storytelling and so much more depth into their music than the original. I'm a funny guy, I'm the next Slim Shady shit. Like, everyone wants to be the
Right.
next Slim Shady, right? We all like the funny guy, but even Eminem isn't Slim Shady anymore. He even said that
Right.
on Death of Slim Shady.
Yep.
It's like, he's dead to me, but at the same time, he's so fucking good at it that everyone was like, bring him back. Because it's just like, that was an expectation, but it's actually trauma and comedy. It's always been tragedy and comedy combined
Yep.
together. Like, that's how most people can write amazing things if they've been through some shit, especially comedians. Like, the funniest guys, you're gonna usually find out their history is not so friendly and not so funny. So it's like,
Robin Williams,
you just have
for
to
example.
RIP. A tragic story. That poor man. And no one knew, because he would cover that shit up. He put that a cane on every single day. He wouldn't let
Yep.
anything get in his way of making a joke about it. And same with Chester Bennington. Like, these people are unstable and no one would ever know, because they're just laughing through the day or making the
Yep.
best joke or keeping you distracted. And it's like, these people, Crimson right now, Token, Eminem, the vulnerability. I hate that they're all white. I'm sorry. That's who I listen to. I listen to white rappers. What can I say? No, Tupac's there too. He's absolutely one of the poets of all time. And so I will say, like, it just means so much more when you put yourself into the I'm supposed to learn from my own mistakes or my own decisions or my own music. And that's what you did on that specific track. Red Alert, if you guys haven't checked it out, probably doesn't mean as much now because it's a different phase that you're in, and you're becoming such more of a mature person instead of just growing into the rap industry. And that's what I love about it, is like you've bloomed. You're a fucking flower, bro. No gay. No homo.
No homo.
No homo. So anyway, Break Free, Dream 3 is what I call it. There's Dream 1, which is Too Late, Dream 2, which is Fantasy, and Dream 3, which is Break Free. That is the final of the 3 dreams. That's just how I've perceived it. You can see it in a different way. Most likely you did when you were writing it or creating it. You weren't even thinking about that stuff. But in my mind, I could close my eyes and visualize exactly what I was going to see. And as I told you during the reaction, I'm just floating through the air, floating through stars. And so we get through all that. And then we go right into one of the most incredible songs, which is called Hopeless. Now, it's not the best song. It's not your favorite song, but it's a great song. And it has a hell of a message. And you use a very modern flow, but it's also very rapidy rap, which I'm all about. I love my rapidy raps.
I love some rapidy raps.
I love my rapidy raps. What can I say? Lyrical, miracle, spiritual individual.
Yeah, like for Hopeless, it was one of those things where it was definitely one of those songs that, like, you're not gonna listen to it and start dancing like, yeah, Hopeless. Nah, but it was definitely one of those songs that even when I first made it, it was just kind of like, let me talk about everything that's going on, everything in home, when it comes to like the US, everything that's outside. And I think that was one of the biggest things that, like, a lot of people appreciate. Like, even other artists and whatnot that's like listen to the album and stuff like that. They're like, oh, I really relate with this. I really relate with that. But whenever they get to Hopeless, they're like, like they're like, you use your voice for good, basically. And that's one of the biggest things that I always say to people is like, as an artist, whether you're an artist in a vocal sense, a visual sense, whatever, it's like, with the voice that you have or the talent that you have, it's like use it to your full potential, especially for what you believe in. Like, I'm a huge advocate for like mental health. I'm a huge advocate for like human life and stuff like that. So yeah, so throughout the whole album, you're gonna hear those themes, and it's just because that's what I'm passionate about. So yeah, like for this song, it's like, if you're ever gonna like really dig deep lyric wise and really listen, it's definitely gonna be like this song, no doubt. And yeah, like for this one, it was just, everything that I kind of grew up with and stuff like that, and just everything that's happening now. And again, I think what I tell people all the time, what's crazy about it is that song is I'm pretty sure over a year old now. Yeah, I think I dropped it like July of last year, and it's still true. to like everything that I said. Like you know, if somebody listened to this album and they listen to me for the first time, you know, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is everything that's going on." And it's kind of it's sad because it's like, yeah, you know, a whole year has passed and it seems like there's really nothing that happened, but um yeah, it still like stands true to today and like everything modern time wise.
Yeah, man. And it's about injustice. It's about civil
Mm,
unrest. It's about, war. It's about the whole entire experience of a victim in any position where they have like hopelessness. Like that's why it's literally titled that. And you gave me the themes before I even made the reaction. That's why when I made the reaction, I was like, damn it, dude. I thought you were going deeper than this. But I didn't know it was going to be on the album. I was just like, it's just a single about, the topical stuff. But like you said, yeah, it's terrible that these things really don't change and that you can write a song that was supposed to be, made for like a later time, or maybe it was just written at that time and you're like, boy, I hope things move forward from here, and they don't. That's why South Park is so fucking relatable, because
yeah.
they can assume sometimes they'll make an educational guess and sometimes they get it right. They get the Simpsons did it kind of shit, but also they have like very creative minds, and they are always taking whatever is popular at the time, and it just so happens that it resurfaces at that exact time, and so
Yeah.
it becomes topical. One of the songs I can think about the most that really never goes, or not songs, episodes that I really think about the most, douche and turd. Every single election they made that for the Bush and Kerry election back in 2004, and it's exactly copy and paste every election from that point.
Every 4 years. Yep.
Every 4 years you can watch that episode and be like, holy shit, we're literally living this again. And that's exactly what I'm avoiding, like being a centrist, being away from all this stuff and not choosing to vote for any of these fucking idiots. It makes me happier. And the only reason I bring up politics is because the song that you're talking about is a little bit more topical to the world problems that we're dealing with. And you wanted to know my opinion on all that stuff. I remember you messaged me and you're like, Dan, I really want you to go hard on this. And I'm like, man, I really wish I cared. I can't stick with it. It's so hard to listen to all of this news stuff and not feel awful. And then, what it does is it deteriorates my personality and my optimism. And I don't want to lose either of those things because I keep learning horrible things are happening. Like I'll listen to a podcast and they'll break down things that are happening, but they also go within pop culture and they have jokes within the whole episode. It's not just focused on the news. But people that watch the news all the time, the last thing they want to do is hear my opinion on the news. That's just gonna upset everybody. Like, no, it's like not useful. But what you did is you said, let's take it from the perspective of all the people that are actually innocent. It's not one side or another. It's not picking between the two. It's literally just exposing that this awful, tragic lifestyle that we've been, subjected to, whether it's in America or overseas, is not the way that it should be. And that there should be a wake-up call for everybody to say, you know what, fuck this. Why are we continuing this bullshit? And like you just said, a year after the song, it's still going. A year after the Ukraine war started, we were still sending money. A year after this Palestine and Israel thing started, we're still talking about who's on the right side, who's on the wrong side. It's like, can you not just see that it's just a bunch of people in capitalist society that are controlling this? That's all that it is. In the newest movie of Superman, I'll go into movies, they talk about how this world conflict was created so that they could get the attention of Superman. Imagine these assholes are real. Oh, wait, they are. And imagine they had this selfish intent to make it all about how much money they could make by sending people to war. Oh, wait, they did.
They do.
Imagine if they could actually convince the entire media that is literally in their pockets because they're able to pay off everybody to push people towards one side or another. Oh, wait, they do. So it's like, this is not a question anymore. It's like, who do you actually stand for? Do you want to stand for right or do you want to stand for wrong? It's not about left or right. It's not about Israel or Palestine. It's not about Ukraine or Russia. It's about fuck these guys in charge, and everyone else below them is being manipulated. Help those people wake up. Help people get away from the Holocaust mentality that ruined Germany, that ruined Poland, that ruined the Jewish community. This is all that we're going through again. Just wake up and talk to your friends and say, hey, listen, I don't care what side you believe in. That leader sucks. Like that's what it
Right.
needs to be. It needs to be like fuck that guy at the top.
Right. It's yeah, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be, pick a side. It should just be, these are humans. These are lives that are being affected by this
Mhm.
just because, government, for example, yeah, governments are basically just being like, well, we want your land, or oh, we think this or we think that. And it's just like, no, bro, because you're having innocence in that, and especially to the people that, a lot of people say, like, with I'm a huge historian. I think that was probably like my favorite subject growing up. And when people bring up like World War I and World War II, it's like, oh well, these people were like, volunteering to do that and stuff like that, which number one, no, because there was the draft. But number two, it's like it was these people that, had the mindset that, oh, I'm serving and protecting my country. But when you look back at it, it's one of those things where, if peace was truly like a real thing, imagine how many people would be alive right now. And it even goes beyond like just wars and stuff like that. Like I bring up in the song, it's like, you know, growing up, for example, the areas that I would live in, with how much, gang violence there is, how much school shootings and stuff like that. It's more than just like, again, outside of the United States. There's a war going on inside of the United States. So it's like, and most of the time it just comes down to, you know, beliefs or what color you're repping or, anything like that. And it's just kind of
Yeah.
like, it's crazy to me because a lot of people nowadays too, they don't value not only their life but also other people's lives. Like everybody is important, every life matters. So it's just crazy. And like and even if like I was super optimistic and, like with the whole Palestine and Ukraine and all the wars going on overseas, if I was like, oh, maybe by now everything will be over, maybe everything will settle down, which it
Mhm.
hasn't. But just in the aspect of like the first verse for the song, it's like, yeah, like that's why for me personally, like with like moving and stuff like that, I don't want my kids to go through what I did in the aspect of like the environment and whatnot. Like growing up, getting in fights, having all that kind of stuff around me and whatnot. It's one of those things where it's like I want them to have a good childhood. I want them to be in a safe area, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so
And you want
yeah,
them to be away from propaganda or be able to be aware of propaganda. We
right.
weren't aware of that. Like they tried to do that in schools. Remember, we had like Mad Magazine, and they would talk about bias. They would show us like Superman, John Kerry. I'm going to go back to the fucking election that I was part of in elementary school, but Bush was like a farmer. So they had Mad Magazine. He's a farmer. He like looks like a,
Mhm.
South who gives a shit cowboy guy. And then you got John Kerry, who's got this fucking Superman costume on, and he just looks like he's promising in every way. And we had to learn what the political bias was, Democrat versus Republican, all of that. And our country, which was the United States, which I said on the 4th of July, because some people keep forgetting that because they get so affected by whoever's in charge of the country. It's like, listen, you can hate the guy, but it's not changing. He's
Right.
got 4 years, now 3 years. It's over after that. Then you can go and cry to somebody else about something. I don't care. Like, it's just, there's nothing that we can do. I'm sorry, but that's
Right.
the answer. If you're not going to shoot him, which you shouldn't do, then don't expect much change to happen. It's just not going to happen. You
Yeah.
can't veto the president. You can't undo anything he's doing. So it's
Yeah,
just
that's
the way
why
that it
like
is.
for me, I don't watch the news anymore. Even like
Mhm.
for X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Um, I actually don't have it anymore. I stopped like I literally basically downloaded it again just to promote the album, and then I uninstalled it right afterwards because I'm like, every time I would go on X or Twitter, I would every single time it would just be like the first thing would just be something depressing or something just like crazy. And again, that kind of like sours, your mood for the whole rest of the day, and it's just like, damn, like
It does. It does. That's why you need to have a mix, like we said before, of tragedy and comedy, and it needs to be there. So when I listen to my
Right.
favorite podcast, the All American Savage Show, which just came back recently, or the Brett Cooper Show, I'm hearing like, here's horrible things that happened in the left wing, but here's also conservatives that have totally overstepped. And then here's people that are getting offended by this. And then it's a story about Taylor Swift or a story about a celebrity. So it's like a good mixture overall. Meanwhile, the main news that everybody's watching 24/7, Fox News, CNN, whatever it is, they're just getting all the bad all the time. And all they are
Right.
being brainwashed to believe is that the other people they probably won't even come in contact with any of these extremists are all extreme. And so it's like they can't even talk to their neighbor. They can't talk to their cousin. They can't
Right.
talk to their uncle. And it just gets so ridiculous. It's like, listen, we are literally the only country that allows you to have your own personal beliefs without having control over you. Like I know right now it's not great. Things suck. And I'm really not a big fan of Trump. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I still have the rights that I had before all this. I'm
Right.
still able to speak my mind. I'm still able to talk shit. I'm still able to explain to you right now that like there's a leader at the top of everything, and those are the people that we're supposed to hate. And the reason that we
Correct.
don't hate those leaders is because the leaders have been chosen or have paid their way to give us propaganda to separate us so that we'll never question the leader or make us
Exactly.
complete prophets of the leader. I fucking hate the Trump God prophet, like second coming of Christ shit and all of this.
Oh yeah.
Religious, like, oh, we need to praise this man. He's a good Christian. Good Christians don't fuck porn stars. Good Christians don't, force vaccines on people. Good Christians don't do any of this shit. And so I was
Right.
like, sure, whatever. I'm done. I don't care. It's not my business. And I'm not going to get anything else out of that. I'm just going to say that hopeless is a mindset that we can all have, but it's not the only mindset that we should have. Things can go completely wrong in our lives. We can dig ourselves out of our abyss. We're going to get back up into the best part of ourselves, and we're going to realize that our worth is so much more than what the news says. And we're not just another little pawn that they can push around and be told whatever they want us to hear. And we can't consistently consume bullshit and actually believe it, because we're actually independent thinkers, independent creators, and we're independent communities that actually say, nah, not my problem. Moving on.
Yep.
What else? Hit me with something else. Like, oh, that's the worst day ever? All right. Well, I mean, not in 2001, but remember when we were all peaceful for an entire week? I missed that.
Yeah.
Like people these days, they don't think about that. They don't go back to that. They're always like, here's what I will always believe. But we'll go on from here to the best. And that is, oh wait, we got Scars. Do we have Scars? Yeah. Okay, so Scars is one of my favorite songs because of the feature that you have on there, but it's not the best song. I will talk about the best song is your favorite song, and I love that song as well. But Scars has the rapper on it. What's his name again?
Crank.
Crank has a sick flow, and he goes for verse 3, which I think, or verse 2. Is that right?
Verse 2. Yeah.
Verse 2. I love when a separation like that happens. I love Lucky You on Kamikaze from Eminem, with Joyner Lucas and Eminem. Like you could just hear both of them just killing it on their flows, and yours was amazing. And then as soon as I finished with yours, I heard this dude and I was like, bro, I'm gonna listen to everything this guy made. Like, holy shit. Like, you got a good rapper on here, and I love listening to both of you guys have this like really good flow. And so I never listened to the lyrics. What is Scars about?
So basically, like one of the biggest things too, is like when it came to features on the album, there's only 2. And that was like really one of the biggest things. I was like, with 48 Glow, he did his thing on the melodic side. And with Crank, Scars was basically just being like, and for going back to Hopeless, everything that's happening and whatnot, they leave scars, they leave an impact. So everything that I grew up with and stuff like that, it's going to be scars. But at the end of the day, it's what I'm fighting for. I know what I'm fighting for. I know what I'm going towards. So basically, Scars was just, another explanation of everything that we fought for. But, it'll always be a remembrance of like who you are. So basically, in album terms, it's like everything that happened from the beginning leading up to this point, that's me, and they're gonna leave scars, but that doesn't make me who I am, and I'm still fighting for like a bigger purpose and whatnot. And then yeah, like Crank, he went off and basically did the same thing in his own words and whatnot. But yeah, Crank is probably one of the hardest rappers I know right now in the underground that like when it comes to like flow and whatnot. Cause I was like, I want someone that I'm gonna be basically like a contrast on the song where I'm over here like, just talking. But he comes in here like he's younger than me with that younger like spirit of like, I'm fighting for money, I'm fighting for power, I'm going in and stuff like that. So when I heard his verse, because I did mine first and I sent to him, when he sent it back, I was like, it wasn't even supposed to be on the album, but I was just like, hey, are you cool if I put this on the album? Like it just fits the tone, it fits the theme, all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I was like, sick. I was like, yeah, so I'm putting you on, bro. Like I'm like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
Best
your verse
decision,
is
bro.
sick. Yeah.
Best decision. So if you guys have not heard the track, I highly recommend this one. If you are big fans of Detroit hip hop, I said Danny Brown comparison when it comes to his flow, when it comes to his diction and his enunciation on words. I was all about it. And when he kept going and going and going and going and going, I was like, oh my gosh, the triplets are fire. Everything is great. The beat absolutely is killing it. Like everything is complementing what rap is supposed to be. And that's why it was so hard to listen to the lyrics because you're just vibing the whole time. I was like, holy shit, this song
entranced in it.
Yeah, it's so good, bro. So good. And now I'm really happy that you had the chance to actually change your mind and put it on the album. It does belong. I obviously would have put it in the first part, but I get where you're coming from Hopeless, having the scars, healing those scars, healing experience from the abyss. All of that thematically does add up to the best song on the album, which is Power. No, just kidding. Fire. And that is Fighter. I'm like looking at every single song at the wrong part. Wait. What did I say? Oh, you had a Babytron flow. That's what I wanted to say for Scars. And I was trying to say that during the reaction, but I could not think of the rapper's name. I said that one song that Eminem was featured on. I was thinking of Toby.
Toby Maguire. He got bit by a spider.
Yeah. So it reminded me of that kind of flow and the way that you would like go in and out of the words. But yeah, his was Danny Brown. Anyway, the best song on the album, by far the best song that he's ever made, in Crimson's opinion here, is Fighter. And if you haven't heard the good old song by Daft Punk and Kanye, like that song is so much on this, like the inspiration I could feel from it, especially hearing the chorus over and over. And I was like, oh, yep. Yeah, the same kind of tempo and everything. I was like, you know what, though? You did something different. The verses are fire, bro. They fit. Everything is perfect. And I put nothing but fire emojis for this one. This was my only comment. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Amp
songs.
Up workout track. That's what I said. Full vibe fire.
Yeah, there's not a lot of songs of mine that I would say I go back to and like listen to and like on just like a day-to-day for me. But Fighter is definitely like there were so many times leading up to the album, whether I just needed motivation or whatever, and I would just listen to it. And especially like, in the beginning, you get the vibes and stuff like that, where again, yeah, it's like a Daft Punk, work it harder, kind of like sample or inspiration. But towards the end too, it like when I started having, I don't even know like what I was watching or listening to, but basically I was just thinking about like how in like movies that impactful song where it's like two different people, and towards the end of the chorus where I'm singing the hook but then I'm coming back in and being like, don't you ever give up, and like that kind of thing. It was kind of like a mirror moment, like a double-sided mirror, like me talking to myself.
Okay.
And I think that's why like for that song in particular, it's like that one speaks to me the most, and it speaks to a lot of different people too, because even people that are like, oh, like the album was good, the songs were good, all that kind of stuff. Every single time I'm like Fighter, or like I tell people, it's like, hey, if you don't have the time to listen to the whole album, it is 18 songs, I get it. I'm like, just listen to Fighter. And that's
Mhm.
actually the song that makes people then listen to the whole album because they're like, shit, that one's really fucking good. So like, let me listen to the whole thing.
That's why I'm surprised
Um,
that you didn't make this the first single, bro. If you made this the first single, I would have been like, oh my god, this R4L is gonna
mhm.
be fire.
Yeah, it was the main reason for that was because Fighter was, I would say, Fighter and Humming were the most like like went back and fixed type of songs. Because
Okay.
at first it was just like one of those things where, um, one of these days, like I'd be cool with like just kind of going back and like taking some of the songs off the album and like hearing the first versions of them because they sound
Mhm.
drastically different to the end. Um, and yeah, Fighter is definitely one of them because from what the first version was to now, I think there's like 6 different versions. I'm pretty sure to what we got right now, which is hands down the best version. Like
Oh yeah.
um,
Oh my god,
but
the flow is so good, dude. And the next song too. Oh my god, everything about the beat and the instrumentation, like you're in it. You're in it to win it.
yeah.
If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it just right now. Go listen to Fighter and Power. Both of them, 1-2 punch of perfection, in my opinion, as amp up like you were talking about talking to yourself in the mirror. I was thinking of more of a montage. We're gonna have a
Mhm.
montage. Sorry, back to South Park. But it's just like that's what you feel like is like you got all this power within you, and
Yeah.
it works. By the way, Power, the next track, the
Uh,
best instrumentation out of all of them. So cool what you did with the piccolo or flute or fucking whatever you used, as that song is just in my head forever. And also Power. It's just a very
what you know
easy
about
hook to get
power?
into.
Yeah.
What you know about Power? Yeah, and I said it's a Kanye, OG Kanye type flow with a sick beat.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
personally go back to the idea that obviously Fighter being, influenced and inspired by Stronger is still
Mhm.
not a bad thing at all. Like if that's the
Mm-mm.
influence, I'm all about it. Keep going.
Yeah.
Like that's a great song, and the way that you flowed with it and the way that you told your story and the way that you're hyped up about it yourself, it shows how much you care and you love it. So Power, are we on that same level with that one?
Yeah, I would say so. This is actually I don't know if you've ever heard the term, but have you ever heard of like a 7-minute drill?
No.
Um, so basically, I learned this from J. Cole, where basically you pick a beat and you just rap on it for 7 minutes, and whatever you come up with it is your start, and then you go back to it and start with all that kind of stuff. So I had my girl pick out 3 different beats, and funny enough, this one was called like Kanye X Childish Gambino type beat or something like that.
That's so
Um, s-
funny.
so it just worked. Yeah, it just worked out. And the first two that I listened to, I was like, I'm not really feeling it. But this one was something special. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So yeah, so I rapped on it for 7 minutes, went back to it, fixed a couple things up, and then, went to it. But yeah, this was like the first time I did like one of those drills, for example, because I just wasn't feeling inspired that day. But my girl was like, we got time. Why don't you just try? So I kind of learned a new skill while making that song. So, but yeah,
Awesome.
that's another like like fan favorite for a lot of people because it also samples Dorian Concept, which if you ever seen like the memes and stuff like that, it's the night at the campfire and all that shit. So a lot of people when they hear it, they're like, "Oh, it's that meme or whatever." So
Never heard of it,
that works
never
for
seen
me.
it. I'm gonna have to find that now and have to put that in somewhere and hopefully make sense of it for all my older audience. They're gonna be like, "What the hell is a meme?" Be like, "Shut up, Grandpa, go back to bed."
um, I've heard. No, don't worry. I've heard about these memes. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh yes, yes. I'm a big fan of the meme.
Oh, the memes.
All right, so we finish off with one of the craziest songs. I actually lied originally. I said there were 3 dream sequences. We got the 4th one here, and that is called Mental. And this is a relief song. This is where
Yep.
you are fully relieving yourself of all of that stress, all of that pain, all of that torture that was coming from a cane. You're just
Yep.
relieving all of that energy, that dark energy, and going into the light. And in the best way, not a suicidal way, which is wonderful to
Right.
hear. Yeah, and I've listened to sad music for a long time, so I wasn't gonna be surprised if it went that way. But hearing it the second time, I was like, okay, yeah, no, he's just in like this
Some
serene
motivational
state.
sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. So mental, what does that mean to you?
Mental was actually one of those songs that so the way that I usually make music is I usually do beat first. And if I like the beat, that's when I come up with concept and all that kind of stuff. This was the first time that I was like, I need to make a song that is about where I am in my headspace after everything happened. Like everything in my life, everything from the album and stuff like that. So mental there this is another like interesting song in the aspect of like different versions as well. Because when we talk about like fighter or humming, it's the same beat, just different verses, different flows, all that kind of stuff. But mental has had like 6 different versions that are just like completely different beats, completely different hooks, even completely different names. Like at first, it was supposed to be called Last Breath, and it was supposed to be like, if I don't make it out of the abyss, this is what I want to be remembered as. Um, and then the last, like I'd say, like once we got to version 3, that's when I did mental, just to kind of be like more of like a happier ending, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And just kind of look back at everything that happened on the album and whatnot. And the beat too, that was another one I produced. I produced like 6 beats on the whole album itself. And I think that's another thing that kind of helped with that too. Because mental, it's supposed to be about like, my mental, where I'm at, all that kind of stuff. So making the beat myself, mixing my own stuff, it just makes it all more personal. But I got inspired by my best friend, Edwin, who basically that's all he produces is like 90s type beats. So I showed it to him and he actually told me too, like a couple things to add, couple things to change and whatnot. And then that's where I got to it. And even like I said, the 90s influence and stuff like that. Funny enough, when I first made the beat, I tried to sound like Biggie. I tried to put on that voice when I was flowing. So
Yeah, no, you actually sounded like Tupac.
yeah, yeah, I definitely
There were some moments I was like, yeah.
a lot of people when they hear it, they either say, "Oh, you got that Biggie flow," or "You got that Tupac flow," and I'm just like, "Yep." I was like, "That's exactly what I was shooting for."
Old school West Coast and East Coast legends of hip hop.
Mhm.
So who better to take influence from and inspiration from? Yeah, no, that track is great. It's a total different vibe from what you got from Fighter and Power, but it does reasonably finish and wrap up the whole album before you go to
Yeah.
the last track, which is one of the best instrumental tracks I've heard in a while. Piano wise, I was in love with it. The 4th
Yep.
time that I listened to it, I was like, yeah, I wish this was a real like long song. I wish it just went on forever. Like this piano is just so mesmerizing and I love it. It's called R4L, the beginning in parentheses. And that's because once again, we started with the end and we finished with the beginning. So it's a beginning of a new chapter, closing the book on that dark phase and that anger phase. He is now going towards the light in the best way and finding his purpose. And that's what I fucking feel from that. And I loved that that voiceover that you had with it. It was like repeating words. And so what does that track simply say to the audience?
Yeah, primarily it's more of, the beginning of a new chapter, and primarily like, especially towards the end where it's like, you're loved, you're healing, you can relax your mind now. It's a complete 180 from what a Kane was saying. Like you're hurt, you're dead, you're scared, you're damaged, all that kind of stuff, and being like, no, you're healing from everything. You're still loved, and you don't have to worry anymore. You can relax your mind now. Um, there there actually is a longer version of the song, even where I rap and stuff like that. But I decided just to do the part at the end to kind of make it more mysterious and more just kind of like like continuing on to the story again in the next album and stuff like that. But yeah, again, this was another beat that I produced and stuff like that. And if I was gonna remove the rap, sense to it and stuff like that, and just kind of make it like this is the end of the album, but a beginning to the new chapter. I knew I had to go hard in the instrumental like sense of it all. So I spent a lot of time piecing together everything for this beat just to make it sound like the most like you made it to heaven, which is basically what the abyss is, that I could go for.
Love it, man. Love it. The piano just amplifies the message, in my opinion. It's just like, if I were to relate it to a song, this is going to boost the shit out of your ego, I would say Lose Yourself.
Shit.
Yeah. And it's
That
because,
compliments, bro. Oh my
yeah,
god.
that melodic piano line, it got me. I was like, whoo, I'm feeling something. I always get chills when I hear a good piano. And there's
Mhm.
other parts of the album that also have piano that's played very heavily, but in this one, it's a light tune. And when you get to that nice ding-ding-ding kind of thing,
Yeah.
it's like, whew, okay, I am done. I finished the chapter. I'm excited for the next one. Like, this is, holy shit, that car was driving way too fast by me. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
ADHD brain just goes, all right, anyway, yeah, it was so good to finish everything that you had given us, story wise, beats wise, production. Everything about this is your top tier best hip hop shit, and that's what I look for whenever I'm looking for a good album. I want to have that beginning to end, I feel something, or I want to keep listening, or there's a song that maybe wasn't so great, but then the following song was so damn good I had to continue. Like, if I were to relate this to Eminem's most recent release, The Death of Slim Shady, The Death of Slim Shady has one of my favorite things in the world, nostalgia.
Yeah.
You don't really have nostalgia besides the song that sounded like Stronger. So I'm
Yeah.
getting nothing but the new the whole time. Meanwhile,
Right.
Eminem's feeding me something. Oh, here's another one
I
coming.
remember
All the
this.
same
Yeah.
shit that, yeah, exactly. I remember Barry. That's all that it is. And like, you love his flow. He's Eminem, obviously, he's the greatest. But by the end of the album, when you get to the song Temporary, you're like, where was this? where the fuck was this? You could have put this on the whole album and you chose to put it at the end. Like, that's the whole feeling. Your album, on the other hand, has this vibe the whole time where you have a certain part that goes angry, aggressive, and then you have a certain part that goes dream state, and then you have a certain part that goes hype up, and then you finish off with sweet. And it's like, ooh, amazing how that does that. There's another album that also did that, The Mockingbird and the Crow, by out of all people, Hardy, a country rock artist, and he picks the first part of the album to be country, last part of the album to be hard rock. Completely different vibes, but the way that he mixes the two right in the center, not an interlude but a song in itself, combines that, understands what it's supposed to be going for. And that's what I really loved about it, is like that thematic element of it is awesome. R4L is your best work. Red for Life is what we all should be. We should be following Red the band. No, I'm just kidding. We should be following Crimson Red on all platforms. This man is an absolute legend, an absolute beast on the mic, an absolute, just a very talented vocalist overall, very good singer. And if you haven't heard his songs that are mostly melodic, I give him a shot, because this guy makes me believe that melodic hip hop can work as long as you understand what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about Future, but Juice WRLD really changed my mind on things, and your music changes my mind on things. Exit Allure, a bunch of dudes that I've had on, Edison. You guys, changed my perspective on this genre as a whole, and what you've done to mix the stuff that I love with the stuff that you love. here is just the best. And I can't give you nothing but compliments because this is amazing. Once again, guys, go and check R4L out on every platform. Give all of the love in the comments. Just go to the comments and say great things. This will be on YouTube as well as Spotify, and just say what part you love the most or hated the most. And if you're brainwashed and you only believe on one side, I hope that I fucking opened your brain up and shove that shit in. That's called independent thinking, and you consistently use it, because that's all that matters. And I, as a critic, give you so much props for putting this whole thing together, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm so excited. Like I said, music video for R4L, the beginning. Not sure when it's gonna come out, but I know, like, sonically and whatnot. Again, you know, you said with the pianos it sounds good and stuff like that. I hope visually it meshes up and it just works. You know, I know it'll be like a good backing track for the visuals, basically.
Absolutely. And when I talked about Lose Yourself, I should say the beginning of Lose Yourself. And I guess the end too, but not with the
right.
that is not on the end at all, the beginning at all. Like that is not for R4L's track. But that build up, that piano.
Yep.
Like that's how I felt the whole time. I was like, ooh, that first time I heard Lose Yourself, ooh, I'm getting that vibe again, and I love it. All right. Well, that was the end of the album talk, guys. I hope you enjoyed this chat. If you guys haven't checked out the Patreon, go to Media Man Dan on Patreon, spend $1 and watch the bonus chat of all of my guests. We have so much extra fun behind the scenes. All these guys can tell you that it is a complete night and day experience. I start off talking like a completely normal person and then go hype beast man Dan and absolutely kill it on these intros and try to give all the hype to my friends here. But then we jump right back into normality, and it's a great time. So if you guys haven't checked out the Patreon, go and check it out. It'll be in the links in the description down below. Once again, Crimson's links are down there as well. And I hope you guys had an amazing time with this, and I hope you have an amazing day, and stay safe out there and stream the shit out of R4L. All right, guys, have a good one. Peace.